So even though Jean hasn't done anything really since the Hellfire Gala, and she seems like a prop ever since they brought back the Phoenix, and this, Jean is Jean, and Jean ain't nobody to mess with. And even though they are giving a kibosh to this whole Krakoan Age, and they are giving a kibosh to it, you still get a quiet council at the end, which I thought was pretty cool. My name is Dorian, this is SCM Comics. We are continuing our coverage of the Fall House of X, and we are concluding our coverage of X-Men Forever with number 4. So our story starts off ironically where the old quiet council used to be on the Pacific side of Krakoa. You got Destiny, who's still saying that now that she's out of the White Hot Room, she can see all the different scenarios, and every last one of them, Enigma wins. And of all people to come to be the voice of reason, we got our beloved Sinister. Then he goes, let me tell you a little story. I once constructed a model that could predict all the actions of mutant kind, and it did pretty well, until the Phoenix arrived and burned my lovely city to the ground. He pretty much said all that to say that if they could bring back the Phoenix, nobody can predict the Phoenix, including Enigma. But then she brings up that even if that's the case, Raven dies in every scenario. So Sinister's pretty much like, you know, you're giving yourself some PTSD when it comes to these Raven predictions. And then he's like, I normally wouldn't tell you this, but what the hell. When it comes to his Myra engine data, he used it to study the predictions of Raven, and he pretty much comes to the conclusion that because of Destiny's love for Raven, that she is drawn to all the predictions that pretty much result in her death, and that her math might not be math. So Destiny's like, so you're saying love is throwing off my predictions? And he goes, yes, it's a weakness, but I know a guy that can help with that. But he's a big blue arsehole. I can't even say it. He went fully English on that one. I mean, English. Whew. Drew McIntyre, can you help me out?
You've worked your arse off for years.
I can say ass. I can't say what he said. And he pretty much said all that to say that he wouldn't recommend the guy. And I'm just thinking to myself, he's talking about Apocalypse, maybe he's talking about Beast, even though Destiny knows both of those people. Like, now I want to know who the hell he's talking about. Please let me know in the comments if you think you know who the hell he's talking about. But Destiny is still on this death and destruction thing, and there's no hope. And then Sinister pretty much goes, I remember something this canny old broad told me once. There is no Destiny. I'm pretty sure he's talking about her, because Destiny's been around for a long time. So then we cut to Destiny talking to Raven. Raven's in her gun closet, and there are a bunch of guns in there. And Destiny's pretty much like, no matter what happens, I trust you. And Raven's like, it's too late. I don't trust you. And Destiny's pretty much like, even if you hate me, it doesn't matter. I still trust you. And what we have is eternal. And then there's a moment of silence, and the Raven's like, all right then, let's go save our family. So then we cut to the White Hot Room, and Jean is pretty much like, the Phoenix is scared and angry, and she's like, Hope, can you do this? And then Hope's like, Jean, let's talk mutant circuits. I am an Omega level manipulator, and Legion, who probably said that in a Scottish accent, I am a genuine Omega level manifester. And then Hope goes, we can do anything. That is so funny. Somebody said the same thing last week, way before this comic book even came out. I wonder who that person was. You have an Omega level mutant wielding another Omega level mutant as a weapon. Yeah, this might be able to take down the Phoenix. So just in case you was wondering, you rocking with one of the best. I wouldn't say that. What are you talking about? You got Rob from Comics Explained, you got Benny from Comic Historian, you got Aries from Variant Comics, you got Sal from Comic Pop, you got Dose Spill Comics, you got Sasha from Casley Comics. That's a lot of people. You got Ernie from Blurred Without Fear. You got Owen Loves Comics. He's 10 times better than you. You got Comic Book Harold. You got Perch. You got anybody from Top 10 Nerd, and some of them don't even know about comics. Okay. I get it. I'm sorry. Now, can we go back to the video, please? So then Jean's like, I wasn't talking about killing it. And then as soon as he said that, Hope says a shot right through the Phoenix's neck. Now you gave the Phoenix anger a target. Good luck. So these two aren't even worried. Actually, they're more worried about impressing their fathers. Legion is talking about Charles, and he wishes that Charles could see him right now, but we all know what Charles is doing. And then Hope's like, yeah, Cable will be real proud right now. And then Legion brings up, but what about the other guy, the guy that wasn't there? And Hope's like, I don't really care about that guy. He didn't stick around, so why should I care? We're about to care here in a minute. So now we cut to Anchorage, Alaska, where you got Enigma, who's talking to Hope's mom. And one thing I do like about Enigma he doesn't sugarcoat a damn thing. He pretty much tells her, in 9 months, you're going to be dead. You're going to be recovering from labor when men with flamethrowers are going to arrive. And you will be murdered along with everybody else in the hospital of fear of your child. You're going to die in significant pain, and I can save you from that. And if you couldn't tell this was Hope's mom, you could after she says this. She goes, yeah, Mr. Weird Eyes, why don't you go off to New York City? And he doesn't even allow her to finish the word city, where he's like, and this is how it's going to feel. So after she picks herself up, she goes, what are you suggesting? So Hope is all of a sudden in pain, and he's pretty much telling Hope's mom about the Dominion and how it kind of works, but he's breaking it down in like simplest terms. So Jean's pretty much like, hey, what's going on? You need to kill the Phoenix. And all of a sudden all you hear is Enigma goes, I simply need to be Hope's father. So then Jean takes control of the Phoenix for a second, and she stresses, only for a second. She looks at Hope and she goes, oh no, I gotta take care of this. As you see a crown on Hope's forehead. Now we switch to the Orchis base where Professor X is being held. You got some Orchis agents that's running into a cell, and all of a sudden there's a big explosion. The other ones are getting shot to hell, so you know who's doing that. And all you hear is, now you bastard, let me love my son. It's Mystique and Destiny. So Professor Xavier's like, I don't remember doing that, but I probably left a simple lock. Just give me a second. Let me figure this out. And he goes, okay, I got it. Done. And then they instantly remember everything. So as soon as that happens, 3 Nimrods appears, and Destiny sounds like Kevin Hart.
Oh, not like this. Not like this.
So one of the Nimrods snatches up Mystique, and Destiny is like, oh, I was right. You know, he hears Exodus go, wrong. Have faith. Hold still. And Mystique disappears from Nimrod's hands. So then this Nimrod sounds like the simpleton Nimrod. He goes, teleporters spoil all my squashy fun. So Professor Xavier's like, hey, look, I'm not upset about what happens. I'm really not. But we need to focus. What else do you need me to do? So now we go back to Anchorage, and Jean pops up out of nowhere and goes, Lois, you can't do this. You don't understand. She goes, hell, I finally understand. Your daughter is going to save mutant kind, but she doesn't just stop there. She saves everyone. That dude is a monster. And he pretty much goes into a spill how pretty much she says, we're all monsters, Jean. Like, all we're going to do is care about the ones we love and then screw everyone else, which he's not wrong. He's also not right. And then Lois goes, you know what? The fact that you think like that shows me exactly who you are. So then Lois looks at Jean and goes, so what she's like? And Jean's like, she's fearsome, she swears a lot, she's a lot like you, and she looks like you too. She's called Hope. And then Lois goes, oh yeah, sounds about right. What's having a kid but an act of hope, right? So now Enigma's pissed. He's like, you can't believe her. She is selling you some bullcrap. Remember how that fire felt? And he does his little trick again. And this explains exactly where Hope got her toughness from. She goes, I'm a firefighter. I run into blazing buildings. I know eventually I'm going to get burned. So f*** off. So then Enigma just disappears. And then Hope's mom goes, alright, I'm not getting in bed with you. And Jean goes, it's not necessary. So before Jean leaves, she pretty much puts some of the Phoenix into Hope's mom. I don't know how much of the Phoenix, but she does put some of it. And then she pretty much disappears. So then we cut back to the white hot room. The crown is off of Hope's forehead. Legion's like, oh, you're back. That's good, because here comes the big bird. She picks up Legion and pretty much shoots at it. There's a huge explosion, and Hope and Legion are pretty much caught up into it. Hope's laying on the ground, and then Jean appears. So out of nowhere, fire comes out of Hope, and then a little Phoenix appears and flies to Jean. And this is why Enigma won't be able to see this coming, because this Phoenix is born from mutant/human. So it's going to act a tad bit differently. So now we go back to the Pacific side of Krakoa. The war's still going on. Exodus shows up with Destiny and Mystique. Destiny runs up to Nightcrawler and is like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And all of a sudden Nightcrawler's sword comes back, and then Destiny's like, Hope's dead. So you know Exodus starts to lose, and he goes, no! And he starts going into his Messiah rant, because Exodus is very, very religious. Like, Nightcrawler and Exodus are probably the 2 most religious mutants you're going to ever meet. And Exodus looks at Hope like he would look at Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ sacrificed himself Hope did the same thing, but pretty much he accepts what happened, even though he is upset about it. So now we cut back to the Atlantic side of Krakoa that's still in the white hot room, and the mutants got left back there are pretty much talking amongst themselves, kind of arguing and kind of just asking questions. And if you notice, you see Proteus, Goldball, Elixir, and Tempest there. That's 4 to 5, and then Hope was the 5th one, and she's dead. So that just pretty much tells you that this whole resurrection thing is done and over with. So like I said, they're arguing amongst each other, and then Casca, of all people, just gets up and goes, "Shut the fuck up." He goes, "We have to be better than this. We have no rules, no leaders, no heroes. We're in charge. That means we're the Quiet Council. And the reason why we're the Quiet Council is that we have to listen." And he pretty much goes, "First, we need to figure out this. And then we need to figure out that." And that's where pretty much the story ends. So now I have a question for you guys. For one, if you answer this question, I know you watched the whole video. And then for two, now that we know that they're not getting rid of Krakoa completely, it's just going to be in the white hot room with all these other mutants, when are they going to write these mutants into the new story? Or are they going to write them into the new story? You know, like, will they use them on this run, or will it be the next run after that they use them? Please let me know in the comments.